Brown guy with tattoos. I think I'm covered. We're looking for a brown guy with tattoos. Perfect.
Is that the AK day?
That was the AK day. So
chest blasted.
Chest. He just won.
How about this? We'll give something for the listeners. All right.
Dude, if people understood that they can get slapped at any fucking point in time, they would legitimately shut the fuck up. Fucking take the labels off of this shit. They want to drink the bleach, drink the bleach. So day drinking, and I was like,
I caught that. I'm like, motherfucker, it's 11.
We're at work.
11 o'clock.
It's 11 o'clock in the morning.
Work at least.
It's 11 o'clock in the morning.
Too, but I was like, yes.
Now it's time for you to talk about Blood Dick.
Right.
Why the fuck were you guys talking about that before the fucking episode? Hashtag Blood Dick.
So awesome.
Listen. Welcome to the Covert Standard. All right, take 53.
Round 22.
I don't know why I'm having so much difficulties with this right now. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Covert Standard. We are excited to be here. And let's go ahead and get our sponsor out of the way. StoneColdWorks.com. If you go to StoneColdWorks.com, you can check out his stuff. It's a Cerakoting business. And what he does is basically Cerakotes a protective coating on your firearm or any other item that you might have an idea for. I'm sure he can work
Elaborate
with you.
For you?
Yeah, a little bit more. I don't know where I was going with that. So basically us firearm enthusiasts, and including us 2A supporters, we like to sometimes dress up our stuff. Maybe if you are a hunter and you want to get your firearm painted for hunting season, you can go ahead and send it off his way, and he has a lot of good camo patterns. And
it's not going to be like real tree kind of stuff, but it's going to be way durable.
Yes, it's going to
like
be very
the Hydro
durable.
Dip stuff is always like the best because you're basically putting a photo on your gun. But it's also like it scratches so fucking easy.
It does scratch off pretty. I had something actually Hydro Dip before, and it just comes off. I mean, just a magazine changed and thing was scraping apart as well.
Right. So like, if you're gonna baby your gun, you get away with it. But like, if you're going through the brush, that'll never fucking hold up.
Yeah, nobody babies guns. Who does that?
Well, I've met a few.
But
Stone Cold works. He does good shit, and it's durable. More durable than Hydro Dip.
There you go. That more durable than Hydro Dip.
Yeah.
That should be like the slogan right off the bat.
Right.
Anyway, it's just myself and Covert. It's myself and Clearmount Function tonight, and we're sipping a little bit of whiskey and decided to have like a conversation.
Yeah.
Because there's so many things that are changing, and it's so fast and rapid that it's kind of hard to keep up with. It just seems like the next drama goes to the next drama, and you forget the last drama.
Well, I'm trying to ignore all of the drama.
Me too. And it's been very, very, very nice. But then you start talking to people that are still crazily obsessed over it, and then when you have these conversations with them, then you're just like, you can see the stress that they have on them.
Yeah, it's no good, but also like it's not great to be super ignorant on some of these things too.
I know,
like,
because if you started,
it's like this. So I was showing you a video right before we started recording, and it sounds like a conspiracy. Like it sounds like some Alex Jones shit. Like it does. It really does. Right? Like this is like a 1 minute 30-second clip on LaRue Tactical's Instagram, and it's just a straight news story talking about one of the guys that was arrested at the insurrection, quote unquote, air quotes there.
That's what they called it, the insurrection.
A protest at the Capitol, and he was Antifa, pretending to be a MAGA supporter and egging everybody on and trying to incite violence. At least that's what the government's attempting to say. Like that's what the prosecutors are saying.
Yeah,
is that in the video you can see him inciting violence. He admits that he's not, actually with the crowd, and he's attempting to get law enforcement to go away and get people to be more rowdy and break the laws and, be more violent.
Yeah.
And he does it right up into the point to where that poor lady got shot in the throat, and he recorded that stuff and then made $70,000 selling that footage to news agencies.
That takes a really dark fucking person.
Yeah.
If you ask me, a really dark scumbag,
right,
to take something as violent and as fucked up as that video was, and then sell the rights.
He gave a shit about her?
No,
I don't know. Like I don't say it's interesting
to sell it for as much as he did. There's no way you could put care into that.
Right, but like
that's a selfish act.
You could. It's most definitely a selfish act. But the scary thought is that he's so wrapped up in political bullshit that like he watched that lady get shot and might not have given a fuck, like in the moment. Just
kept filming, like, oh, look, she got shot.
Right.
And that's what tears me apart, is that I think people's humility is gone. Like he doesn't have any.
I mean, ideologies are just dangerous.
Yeah.
And that's an example of how it can be. But, it's also a hypothetical. I don't know what the fuck he thought at the time.
So
he could have been like, oh, my God, this probably went too far.
What's worse to you then? Is it worse the fact that he had a video that he was willing to sell to these two big-time news outlets, media outlets, or the fact that the media outlets were like totally down to pay so much money for that video? Which one's worse?
It was the same day it happened. He went on Anderson Cooper that night. Like, they fucking, like, yes, we'll give you money immediately.
Yeah, he's definitely not the only person that was there to do that. This is not a one-man act of what happened. There's definitely more.
Well, I don't know. That's like the stuff that you were hearing, the conspiracies, right? And then the conspiracies, like, turn out to be true, so it makes you question everything. And you know that the media is not really concerned with the truth, so...
Neither are people.
Well, that's not necessarily true. Like, so Elijah Schaffer, do you know who this guy is?
Yes.
I've been following this dude since no one knew who the fuck he was.
Yeah, I think you're the person that put me on to him, yeah.
And like, he was slightly offensive. He's still technically slightly offensive, but like, he was like, Fleckus Talks and Nuance Bro.
I like him too.
And slightly offensive. They'd go to all of these like protests and stuff. This is like early Trump days, and they'd interview people and just let them fucking talk. And
there's that McGinnis dude too, right?
Gavin McGinnis?
Yes.
Was he really someone that went to the crowd though? Like, I never saw him go.
I know that he was super into making arguments about everything.
Right,
like
right. But he did like more of like an internet, like from New York show. These guys were like, they'd go to all the protests and walk around and interview people. It was like kind of a crowd of them. And back in then, you could get away with it. Like, people would talk to you.
Yeah.
And then
I like watching Fleckus Talks. Like
it kind of went away because
he's
they got
super nice
so
guy,
like,
you know.
Right. But it got like very hostile towards these people. Because,
of course, yeah.
Like there's groups of people who would follow them around and try to shut down any conversation. Don't talk to this guy. You don't want to. Just that's it. And that happened to all of them. But anyways, Elijah Schaffer was definitely like a very clearly conservative values kind of guy, and would insert himself a little bit more than like Fleckus would, or Nuance Bro. I really like Nuance Bro. He would come up with hard questions, but he'd do it for everybody. But anyways, Elijah Schaffer turned from a guy making funny videos on the internet or trolly videos, whatever your perspective is, into like a legit on the ground, like recording important things that happened during these protests. Like the Kenosha shooting was connected to him. Like, it was his company that was there on the ground fucking filming.
Mm-hmm.
I think there was a thing in Texas where a business owner like got beat in the streets.
I think, I remember that one too.
They were there. Like, I mean, there was a bunch of them to where, like, don't quote me on the Texas one. But I know there's several like major ones that, like, if you were just paying attention to MSNBC and CNN, you wouldn't see this shit. Like, they were walking around recording all the fucking chaos and putting themselves in danger.
Yeah.
Which is just, I don't know. It's weird to me that within like a 2 to 4 year period, you can go from making funny trolley videos to, no, you're what we got for serious reporting. Like, cause we don't really have anyone else. Like, no one else is willing to do reporting anymore.
Have you ever sat down and had an actual full on conversation for the people that are on the other side of these things? Like in person, like actually try to talk to them and find out where they're getting their thought process from, or where they're getting their...
It's really easy to talk past people.
Yeah.
It's really easy to talk past people.
Well, the reason why I'm asking that is like the people that believe, okay, let's just say, let's go over
calm down, buddy.
Let's go over
Sorry,
a subject. Yeah, he's going nuts right now. Let's go over a subject. Let's just say somebody that believes in socialism, right? Have you ever sat down and spoke to somebody who wholeheartedly thinks that our country has to go through socialism, and then try to ask them why and give them the tough questions, and have they ever had an intelligent way to explain it to you?
I don't know that I have with socialism, other than one of my friends thinks it's good generically.
Yeah.
But I haven't like had a full blown conversation about, like, you know, on a technical side, what areas and how far it needs to go and all that stuff. But I do have a lot of very left leaning, definitely very pro Democrat friends, and I mean, so it's easy to talk past one another. I mean,
Is there ever a time that
they don't want to be educated on a lot of subjects?
No, they don't.
They just like they get very emotional and aggressive towards you.
Yeah.
When you try to broach the subject to the point to where they purposely attempt to shut all conversation down.
And what they believe their truth is completely
like, when I was talking about some of the awful things that were going down in Kenosha before that kid shot that rifle. I think the response to one of my friends was, yeah, we should have shot that N-word in the back 7 times.
Very violent ridicule.
Like that's the position he was doing it as like implying or being facetious. Like that's the other side of the argument, right? Like either you burn a bunch of personal property down and ruin small business owners, or you're in favor of murdering someone. Which, by the way, I don't think the cop did anything wrong there. All charges were dropped against the officer, as it should have been.
Yeah.
I mean, only the ignorant can think that the cop did something wrong in that situation.
Yeah.
He had a knife. He had resisted arrest. He'd been tackled out of the ground and tased. They attempted to stop him. He was about to steal a vehicle with children in the back of the car that weren't his kids. When are you supposed to use violence? Yeah. If that's not a reason to save children and stop a grand theft auto, like I don't understand, because I know the person that said that, he has kids, and he wouldn't for a fucking second hesitate if it was him or someone else stopping someone from harming his kids.
Yeah,
but he won't see it within that lens, right? Like it's just nope. It's because people. I think
that's a perfect example of what. Whenever I say someone's closed-minded, that's like a perfect example of it. Like they're not willing to see past, or at least try to understand both sides. They only want they're very strong in their own belief, and they don't want to see past that. And then when you start trying to give facts to it, I think that their defense mechanism to them, their own mind saying, "Oh yeah, that's right," instead of admitting to it, they just shut the fucking shit down. They're like, "Nope, no," instead of actually trying to talk to it. Now the reason why I was saying that is, I feel that being informative is important. I think that knowing things is important. I think that not just staying in a bubble, but actually understanding different things is important. But people are only going to believe what they choose to believe. And that's one of our problems, is because I can't understand why they want to believe that way, but I just understand that that's what they want or choose to believe.
Yeah.
So it's really hard because of everything that's happening in media right now. And there's such a division. There's such an angry fight going on right now versus left versus right versus your political beliefs versus your religious beliefs. There's so many people that are divided and angry right now with each other, but it's like they're only going to believe what they want to believe.
Yeah.
So what's going on is the solution that everybody's coming up with is, I want to let the other side believe what I believe. Like I want to tell them why, like I want to make them believe what I believe, or force them. Now it's getting to the point where they want to force you to believe. Like I want to force you into giving up your rights.
I don't know that they want to force. They just want to punish.
Or, I mean, I guess
right, like
almost the same thing.
It seems, but like I would like it if people were more like pro freedom and willing to let people live and let live.
Yeah.
And I proselytize that. Like I'm guilty of it. What the fuck do you think I'm doing here on this podcast?
Yeah.
But like that's not the other side. I mean, I'm not saying there aren't other people on the other side that feel that way, that want me to convert, but that doesn't seem to be the route, right? Like they want to cancel people. They want them. I mean, I don't really know what they want them to be. Like, okay, so I don't know why. I'm just going to bring this up because I watched it coming in here, an update to, was it Central Park Karen? Do you remember this story? It was
Central Park Karen. Is that the one that called?
She called the cops on a black guy. How evil of her. A Karen, she was in Central Park, New York, and she had a dog that was on a leash, and the guy started yelling at her, so she called the cops. That was kind of the story.
Okay.
Which is fair enough, because that's not at least a complete lie of what happened.
Mm-hmm.
But what specifically happened was, it was a girl with a dog by herself in a part of the park, and this dude came up alone with them relatively secluded, started yelling at her for having the dog not on the leash, told her to put the dog on the leash immediately. She didn't immediately comply. And then he got a bag of treats out of his pocket and started trying to get her dog to come over to him while threatening her and the dog. And so she panicked, grabbed the fucking dog, called the cops. He starts recording her after he does that. And somehow this is a nationwide story. You know, she's trying to kill this black man by calling the police. She gets fired from her job for it. She's charged for falsely calling 911, some bullshit that they have.
That's kind of fucked up because you got to.
She was actually punished, by the way. Like, and people were outraged that she got off too little. She took anti-racism courses. She had to take 5 anti-racism courses.
Yeah. For
being threatened by a guy in public and calling the police, and then as a result, getting her life ruined. And they still like, yeah, well, you need to take these, make sure you think correctly courses because you live in New York.
Yeah. Cancel culture, which is a big fucking thing going on right now. They want to cancel history. They think that if they just erase history, that things would change for whatever reason. But
I guess for some reason I don't get it. Like, right? Like, I don't understand cancel culture. What do they want people? I think I've been asking this question for like 2 years on this podcast. One day you're gonna have to answer it for me because I can't figure it out myself.
Yeah.
What do they want? Do they want these people to die? Is that really what they want?
I think what it is
because they want them fired.
Anybody who goes against the belief, this belief,
right. You
whatever
don't believe
it is,
what I believe,
then you should be gone.
Right.
I don't know if that includes death. I don't want to speak on behalf of them that they want to kill people. But what
satisfies the mob, though, right?
They don't want them to benefit or profit or have any fame or any standpoint, any pedestal at all. So they don't want you to have a platform. They don't want anybody to hear you speak. They don't want anybody to see what you're doing. They want to cancel everything. They want to, and then
everybody has the ability to speak now.
Well, do they?
I guess that's true. I mean, tech companies can fucking cancel
because what happened or
deperson you, is that what they call it?
Yeah. So right now we already see that Facebook and Twitter and Instagram are already canceling people off
Parler.
They canceled an entire
app. How crazy
app.
Is that?
They canceled an entire app because in their mind they said anybody who was on the right apparently we're like these mass.
I don't buy it.
Murders or whatever. But
the real reason I think that happened is because an actual viable threat came to one of them. I think they're a bit of a cabal, and a viable platform came up that was actually something that it wasn't coming close to rivaling Instagram or Facebook or Twitter, but it could have. If Parler would have been let alone to grow in 4 or 5 years, it could have overtaken one of them. You know, and
because I honestly feel there's more freedom-loving believers out there than there are the other
like
one.
It's not a left-right thing.
No, yeah.
Like right people were kind of flocking to it in the moment because they felt like outsiders. They felt like they were the oppressed, but like that ball will move. Like it'll go to someone else. The attention, the ire will move elsewhere. So I don't know. I am convinced that is absolutely why they did it, but I could be wrong.
And well, we're starting to see a lot more of it now too, because there's so much control in a lot of these media sources, right? Like Hollywood, everybody knows that in Hollywood that if you're not,
I feel like it's been that way for a bit.
It has. If you're not left leaning, then you're not wanted, kind of thing.
Right.
So a lot of the people that still believe on the right side are trying to do things, but then they're getting canceled out slower or one by one.
Do you know why I think that? Like why it's been that way for a while? Because like this last year, 2020. I got a chance to watch a lot more Chuck Norris movies as an adult. And those are not Hollywood movies. He's like, this goes back to like the 70s. You're a dude that doesn't have these fucking beliefs, then they push you out.
Yeah.
And so like his movies were always like a little bit goofier production and made out in Georgia, not in California. And you know, it's not to say that like Arnold Schwarzenegger and other like action movies weren't made machismo or whatever, but like they just weren't politically minded.
Yeah,
like they didn't have a viewpoint, or they're able to be quiet about it. I think back to like I've watched a couple old Jean-Claude Van Damme movies, and they're gay as fuck, man.
Yeah,
man, this is homoerotic.
Yeah.
Like, why did I like this when I was a little kid? Like, what's wrong with me?
Well, okay, so let's talk about what happened to Gina Carano, yeah.
Yeah. Oh.
So that actually hit me. So I've been taking a step back. I haven't been paying attention to fucking videos. I haven't been watching fucking all these mass media outlets and shit, and I've just been kind of taking a break from it because it's fucking super stressful to fucking watch all this depressing bullshit on TV or on these fucking channels of them completely, Xing everybody out. So I was mentioning how, Parler got canceled, Facebook's choosing to cancel people. These people, I think that's wrong. I think that's completely fucking illegal. I think that's completely against our Constitution. If it's a public domain, it needs to have fucking free speech. That's how that works.
They're a private company, bro.
See, that's the shit I'm talking about. It's a private company that owns a public domain. It's a public domain. Now they're picking and choosing who they want. That right there is discriminatory. Period.
Their publisher. Yeah. I mean, in the protections that Congress wrote, they literally put in a line that said that they can pick and choose things irregardless of the Constitution. That line is in the fucking legislation.
I haven't read that. I did not know that existed.
That's what Tulsi Gabbard was pointing it out. Yeah, when I was listening to Tulsi Gabbard go on Joe Rogan, or I watched her on Dave Rubin too. I've seen her in a few different spots. She started a podcast. I haven't listened to it yet, but yeah, I'm a sucker for some Tulsi. But sorry, I didn't mean to.
No. You're good. You're good. I'm actually.
But I mean, you're frustrated by this.
I'm trying to find the actual quote again. I had it written down earlier. But she basically stated something that got her fired from the show.
So she showed a picture of a Jewish woman getting stripped and beaten in the street of Germany, and I think the top said it was like a 2-paragraph thing, basically saying that because history is so edited, a lot of people don't realize that.
I got it.
Jewish people. Okay, you got the exact quote?
Yeah, so this is the exact quote.
Okay.
And I was curious. One, I'm a Star Wars fan. I actually like the franchise. I've been a Star Wars fan since I was a kid.
Mandalorian's finally good. Finally good Star Wars.
Great show. Love the fucking show. And it's entertaining. I liked it. It's been something I grew up to, right? And there's a lot of people that grew up to it. It's a very recognizable franchise. But anyway, she says, this is what her quotes are. Jews were beaten in the streets, not by Nazi soldiers, but by their neighbors, even by children. Because history is edited, most people today don't realize that to get to the point where Nazi soldiers could easily round up thousands of Jews, the government first made their own neighbors hate them simply for being Jews. How is that any different from hating someone from their political views? Now, let me explain why I find this very interesting that they canceled her because she was saying that, or she's trying to incite something, or she's trying to make violence, or whatever these people are trying to say. She basically was stating a fact, right, of something that happened in our history of people that it wasn't. Everybody thinks it was immediately Nazi soldiers just took over. That she was basically stating that at first they used these political ploys, this propaganda to turn people against their own people, to where they thought and they started believing that they're nasty people. Mm-hmm. So she was kind of she was not trying to compare Jews and the tragedy that happened over there to anybody, because that was a fucking tragic event. It should have never happened, and genocide is not good. But she was trying to explain that you're going down a path of chaos that could result in the same or similar attributes of what happened back then. Mm-hmm. So basically trying to say we should not repeat history. So when she's saying that, she's basically stating that now people walking around with a MAGA hat were being beaten, were being burned, were being threatened, were being all this shit. So that was similar to the same thing, is that they're our own people. I can't believe in what I want to believe anymore in a free country. I can't walk around and support what I want to support. You're gonna try to threaten me. And
it's very strange to me that we ever got to the point to where supporting the president, having a piece of gear that was part of a presidential campaign,
yep,
would cause violence across the nation towards you. That's an America that I don't think anyone ever saw coming. If you would have had a time machine and you jump back and you talk to people from 1980, 1990, that is different. A lot of this stuff isn't. A lot of it's human behavior. People have always been shitty. Politics has always been vicious. People have always been hyperbolic. But that's something that I don't ever remember hearing about.
Yeah.
Ever. of someone getting, beaten on a regular basis because they had a Ross Perot or a Bill Clinton or a George Bush gear of any sort, T-shirts, whatever. I just don't remember it. And to my discredit on the Gina Carano thing, I haven't done a thorough enough job to understand why. What is the actual argument for canceling her with that argument?
Yeah,
because I read it, and like I could tell that because I read it, I didn't read it. I found the news on Instagram at like late at night.
Yeah.
And then the next day I asked a couple of my guys, and in my room I have like computer people, like programmers and graphic design people, and not like the I don't know, not nerdy, but kind of more nerdy than me. I'm a fucking nerd, so it's not an insult. And he looked it up and he read the quote out loud, and he could tell he was kind of uneasy about it. And I'm like, well, but that's completely factually correct.
Yeah,
like,
yeah, exactly.
It's inconvenient and uncomfortable, but it doesn't make it not true. But like, that's my fear about it, is like, what's true no longer matters. Yeah. That's when you find yourself in the fucking dystopian 1984, like weird predicament we find ourselves in, because the truth no longer matters.
Exactly.
And that's a foundational thing of our entire culture. That's like that's pre-America written into our fucking law of like, it doesn't really matter if you say something was harmful, because if it's true, it's true. Like if you say something and it harms your business, but it's true, you can't sue them.
When you said it was the truth and everything to this individual, did that individual have a rebuttal?
No, and it wasn't like they read it and they were like, "Oh my god, I'm so happy she got canceled." They were just like, this is kind of weird." I'm like,
How is it weird about it? Like, what's so wrong with us telling the truth? They're talking about the truth.
So the best steel manning I can come up with, but I haven't had a good conversation with someone that's been able to hold any sort of articulation as to why this is so bad. But I know that it exists. Like if I open my eyes up a little bit and peered into the YouTube or the Instagram or the Twitter or whatever of these people, I know some people have had some conversations about this, but the best steel man I can give them is they feel like it's demeaning what happened to Jews in the Holocaust by trying to compare modern day stuff to conservatives now. My rebuttal to that is pretty simple, of like, well, she didn't say it was the same thing. She asked a question, and also, could you not have said that about what was going on in Germany in like 1929 towards Jews? Like, how can you compare yourselves to the Armenians?
Yeah, right.
Right, like, because the atrocity, because nothing crazy hasn't happened. Now, on the other side of the coin, I don't think we have to worry about anything like that, because conservatives are about half, right? Like, you're talking about half the fucking country. I don't think that we have to worry about being isolated and fucked over like a minority can be. Like a minority can be, but
maybe not now, but through indoctrination, through our schools, through the mass media put it on there. I mean, I know,
I just like, that's why I'm here, right? Like that's why you're here. We're seeking to be a counter voice, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But like, I ultimately, like, I just can't buy into the solution to bad ideas being anything other than telling good ideas. And I think that that's just ultimately will win out. Maybe I am being naive, but like that's literally my frustration when you have people that are like AOC supporters that are like aghast that someone could be racist and there's no consequences. What do you really mean by that? Like, why? What kind of consequences? You want your grandma to be killed, or can you just talk to grandma about why her beliefs might not quite be right?
Right, exactly.
Like, my mindset has never been like, silence these people. Let them talk, because then you can point out how stupid they're being.
Yeah, and they don't like to be called stupid, so they just want to get angry.
That's right. Like, that's my confusion. Like, if you think you're right, then why are you worried about silencing others?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't fucking get it.
So, what I mean by, do you remember us we talked about this before, the whole indoctrination thing, like episodes and episodes ago. Remember when I was explaining how, like, for instance, they're teaching, the Bill of Rights, for instance, and the textbooks start to change the verbiage of things and teach them certain things. So when you start teaching an entire generation of younger folk a certain way, and then they get older, and then they teach the next generation certain folk another way, and then they get older, it starts to wash it out, right? So the meaning behind certain things starts to wash it out through the indoctrination, because these textbooks, most of them are written by the same people, same companies, and they're distributed to the same schools, and everybody's on the same curriculum. And then these teachers teach based off of that, and then that generation becomes the teachers, and so far. So over time, things begin to wash out.
I mean, I think that's how postmodernism has taken over. So because that's the world we live in. We live in with a Navy that is believing postmodernistic things. I sent you that the other day too. The fucking postmodern program that they have going on in the Navy, trying to figure out why the enlisted and officers are not the exact same proportions of American citizens' race dynamics.
Right?
That's a postmodern belief that somehow a volunteer army, the people that are in America that decide, I want to be part of the Navy, should represent perfectly the same amount of black people, Asian people, females, Latinos, however that breaks down. They really believe that if it's not a perfect representation, then it would have nothing to do with people volunteering and everything to do with the Navy being inherently racist. And they need to change their standards rather than making something fair. That's a weird situation we find ourselves in. But so it happened exactly how you explained it. Of people that were postmodernists that were like, okay, well, I'm going to go to academia and they start fucking talking to people about all this crazy shit, and people aren't guarded.
Yeah. So that's what I mean by that. Like the cancel culture is trying to wash out these things, and that's one way that you would want to wash out things is through indoctrination. But the reason why I'm saying that is, like, for instance, the simple as the Second Amendment. The Second Amendment is I have
a story for you.
Is a good like defined article, right? Mm-hmm. And when you read it out of some of these textbooks, they shorten it. So when someone goes, "What's the Second Amendment?" to a younger generation out of these textbooks, what they've learned, what they're taught, what they saw in the book, and everything, they'll tell you the right to bear arms, and that's it. They don't go further into the actual definition. They don't actually go over the entire right. They just know that it's the right to bear arms.
Sure.
The important part of the Second Amendment.
I'd say that's true for like a lot of people, though.
Yeah, I know.
Not even students.
No, I know, and I probably couldn't recite exactly verbatim what it is, but I know that it's not just the right to bear arms.
Right.
But the important part of that Second Amendment is the part that says shall not be infringed. Mm-hmm. So that's a very important part to me, because when it shall not be infringed means don't fuck with it, right? So when you start watching
shit all over the Constitution for like 45 years.
Yeah, I know. Well, and it's fucking bothering me because once I learned, so, this is the funny part about it too. As a kid, I can tell you right now, I didn't know shit about the Constitution. Yeah. As a kid, I can tell you I didn't know shit about the Bill of Rights.
You were a shithead when you were a kid.
I was a huge shithead when I was a kid. So I could tell you I didn't know those things, right? Yeah. It wasn't until later in life where I start to understand it and then start to get it. Like it was like a light bulb. I was like, oh, fuck. Like, the reason why this country is so amazing and great are by these fucking documents, these wonderful, written, great documents that keep us from fucking all that shit. That literally says,
it's so crazy,
for the pursuit of happiness. Like, come on. Like, what? Like,
what are the chances that someone's going to start a revolution and then they're going to pick political geniuses to fucking run it? Like, it didn't happen overnight, right? 1776 and 1791 are pretty far apart. Yeah, that's what our Bill of Rights.
So the Constitution was written way later. The Declaration of Independence is awesome to read as well. Right. That what declared to England, "Fuck you, we're doing our own thing." But it
was also one of the that was still a political genius that wrote the "fuck you." Like, we're not going to take this shit anymore.
Was it you who introduced me to the Federalist Papers? I think it was. So anybody listening right now, if you pick up a book or if you do audiobooks or anything like that, I recommend it. It's a little dry.
It is. I can take it in chunks.
You can take it in chunks, but to be informed and to understand before everything was written, go through the Federalist Papers, pick it up, a copy, an audiobook that has somebody that's interesting to listen to, whatever, and listen to it or read it, because it's literally the founding fathers. It's our founding fathers basically discussing all of these plans to do this, and it's amazing.
And they did it like in the paper. Yeah, like all those were just like written and published in the New York Times or whatever.
Like to spread the word and to get it out there, and it's great. It's good. It's a little dry, like I said, because you're reading letters and stuff.
You're reading letters, and it's older way of talking and writing.
Yeah.
So, but like some of it's really enthralling.
I've always wondered if their conversations, like our conversations we have, different. Like how are their conversations?
I bet you it was very like, because you don't speak how you write, or you don't write how you speak, kind of thing. Correct, and that was especially true back then. So I wonder that too, of like how differently did they talk to each other?
Everybody sat up straight, and
because goddamn, they sound so fucking smart on paper. Like, and I'm sure they were smart people.
And now we got people that text, and they're too lazy to write YOUR, so they put UR.
Right. But like Benjamin Franklin, like fucking got wasted all the time and had orgies. So like I know that I'm
sure a lot of people did.
Well, I'm sure a lot of people did, but Benjamin Franklin for sure as fuck did. And so like he sounds so eloquent when you listen to him, or when you read his writing, but like in person, I'm sure he was a lot more laxed.
Yeah.
But so Second Amendment, my little story on this. I have a coworker, and he's extra paranoid, and I don't know that he's unjustified. He's just paranoid about getting targeted for being pro-gun.
Yeah.
And so it started over a year ago when hints of the bullshit that was going on, he unfollowed every gun page on his Instagram. And then like 6 months ago, or a little bit more, he deleted every single firearm. And then like 2 months ago, he deleted every single knife that was on his Instagram. So it's like almost nothing on there, just like a couple pictures of the cars and his family. Make him look like a nice, happy guy. He went to go look at a hashtag within Instagram. And I don't know if you've looked up any like firearm-related hashtags recently, but it pops up. Screen goes black, pops up of basically a statement saying that, you know, firearms are illegal to sell from person to person in certain states, and more or less guns are bad. And it got him fucking riled up, right? He was like, fuck this. I've been on the verge anyways. Like, fuck this. I'm fucking deleting Instagram. I can't stand this shit. These motherfuckers.
Yeah. And
he's trying to figure out, and he's struggling to do it. He's doing like the quintessential old man shit, right?
Yeah.
And he's fucking, they know I'm trying to fucking delete it. They're fucking with me right now. And then like just to pile on, another coworker chimes in and shares something that I don't think you know. Mike Stone from Stone Cold Works posted the Second Amendment on Facebook.
Yeah.
He just wrote out the Second Amendment, how it's written, and he got fact-checked.
Did he really?
He got fact-checked. Yes.
And what did the fact check say?
Saying that it was a George Washington quote, and it was inaccurate, and it was misattributed. And he reposted it again, and the same thing happened. They hit him with the same fact check. And like 4 or 5 days later, they've removed the fact check.
What?
I mean, it's like an algorithmic thing, like the same way that they did it with the COVID. Like, I don't know. It's still every once in a while, posts will come up that have nothing to do with COVID, and I still get like the COVID-19 thing. Like, they're probably lying to you. Like the Instagram, fact checker.
I don't have the money, power, nor influence to want to establish something to counteract or to fight back through those masses, but there's got to be a way. I know that Daily Wire is one outlet that they're trying to establish something to fight back.
They signed Gina Carano up for a movie, which is cool. So, do you know about Run, Hide, Fight? Run, Fight, Hide? Hide, Fight.
I feel like I know what you're talking about. I've seen it.
It's distributed through them. They didn't make it. Mm-hmm. I tried to find an unbiased review of it, and I couldn't. Like, everybody that's reviewing it is a leftist dude that's just trying to shit on it.
Okay.
But it's a weird concept, which is why I don't know if it'll be good or not. But think of a action movie based around a school shooting. So it's a girl. She's the daughter of a vet. He's taught her how to fight and to shoot, and her school gets broken. Like, is going through a hostage situation / mass shooter by some classmates, and she tries to run away and she tries to hide, and then she decides to fight and takes him on and kills him. And it's like an action movie kind of thing.
Okay.
But it's like a play on some shit that they like actually put out in real life of like, if what you're supposed to do if there's a mass shooter, run, hide, fight. So I don't know if it's any good or not, but they put out a movie. They put out like a fucking legit movie. So I don't know.
There's got to be others.
But I listened to, I don't know, not Ian McCollum. What's the other guy's name? From In Range TV. He's definitely someone I disagree with a lot politically, but he's a cool dude, does a lot of shooting videos. And he did a video talking about what you needed to do if you were going to create your own social media. And it was shortly after Parler got taken down. And he was basically saying, if you want to create your new social media, what you have to do is become a nationally or internationally recognized bank. That's how far to the baseline you have to take it. Like, and he went through all the different steps, but from a bank, you have to become like this fucking globally traded bank. And then you can go on to all these different avenues. Then you can finally create a website. So it basically being like, it's not practical. Mm-hmm. If you really wanted to have a social media that's untouched now, how the system works, you need like $1 trillion. It's just not really plausible. You need 8 successful businesses before you can have a social media that can rival anybody else and can't get fucked with and just taken down because they feel like taking you down. It's still not up, by the way. Parler is still down. So like it's never coming back. It seems like.
So President Donald Trump, if you're listening to this,
have fun and fuck it. I was thinking about that this morning. I hope he doesn't run again. I hope he's just a kingmaker, man. Yeah, he's going to be 80 by the time the things come around for him to run again. Like, I know. For his personal health, like, don't fucking do it. Everybody threw so much hate at you. Like, just be a kingmaker. Like, identify all these pieces of shit Republicans that turned on him and that turned on like really what he was trying to do, and just fucking help other people primary them out. Get rid of all these shitty fucking Republicans that we have within the party.
Yeah, I think he should develop some sort of system within himself that does. Yeah.
Yeah. Don't be a fucking like. Don't try to start a new party and don't run again. Be a fucking kingmaker.
Yeah.
And like, I know you can't really decide who's going to be the next nominee for president, but like, there's a few good options, and we'll see what the hell comes of any of that. I still like Dan Crenshaw, even though a lot of people got problems with him. But whoever the president becomes next, I just don't think that, like, just for out of fucking compassion for Trump, like, don't do that shit to yourself again, which I don't think he will. I can't imagine it. Why? Why the fuck would you do it? I don't know why you did it in the first place, but like, surely he can't come back being like, yeah, fucking, I want to go through that shit again.
Yeah. That sucks. I feel like we were making so much headway. We I feel like there was so much
optimism for the country.
There was so much optimism. There was great things. COVID kind of fucked up a lot of things too, but there was so much optimism, and now it's just it's a crash. We hit a wall.
But it was so violent and vile. Of like, people were willing to sabotage the country.
Yeah. In
the name of getting him out.
Yeah.
Right. Like it was so toxic, and like, I don't think that you can have any one president come in and be the unifier.
Yeah.
But I think we could have a party that was like a unifier, right? Like, we could have because the descriptions I get from Tulsi Gabbard and Dan Crenshaw and a lot of like the people talking about their experiences coming in as junior or freshman congressmen, it's like there's no surprise why it's so gross.
Yeah.
Like, they don't talk to each other. They split people from party to party, and then they shun people like, ew, you talk to him? What's wrong with you? He's a Republican. You know that, right? He's the enemy. You're over there trying to be friendly.
Yeah.
Like, that's so unhealthy. And it's like, oh, well, there's no mystery why we're on the brink of civil war. Like, I'm not shocked, but how do you solve this problem? Well, I'm not saying that congressmen being friends personally solves everything every night, but it wouldn't hurt anything, right? Like, if these people didn't fucking hate each other, that would be a good start.
Yeah.
That's why I try, like, I don't hate any of these people. Like, even if I met a communist, like, I don't hate him for being a communist. I just think he's wrong. And I'd love to have a conversation and try to tell him why he's wrong. But,
that's a good way to think about it.
Like,
Stop the hate.
What are you going to do? I mean, if you come for me with violence, you will be met with extreme violence. But I'm not.
Exactly.
I don't want to be that. Like, I don't train to be violent. I train to not be a victim. And I fucking really get sad if I think about the state of things.
Yeah.
And the only way forward that doesn't end in civil war is for compassion and for, like, in actual compassion. That means, like, for people you dislike.
Mm-hmm.
Not compassion for things that you like. Like, I love all those interviews of people that are like, yeah, I'm compassionate. I'm the most open person I know. And then they start asking them, like, towards conservatives or conservative beliefs. And like, no, not at all. I'm like,
yeah.
Well, then you're missing the mark there. Like,
you have no idea what that fucking means. What you're saying.
Yeah, right. Like, it doesn't mean anything unless you mean it to the people you disagree with.
Yeah,
like,
exactly. Yeah.
Like, I really dislike racist people, but I don't want to see a racist guy fired. I just want to have a beer with a racist guy and talk to him about why he's wrong.
Yeah.
Like,
and then try to see if you can.
No different than a fucking communist or a socialist or I don't know what to say. Like, there's no reason for this cancel bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that the kind of push is to cancel on the other side. And I don't know that it's wrong. Like, hey, Disney Plus fired Gina Carano. You have a problem with it? Cancel your Disney Plus.
Yeah.
And tell them you don't like it.
Yeah.
I haven't done it yet. I haven't done it yet, and I don't think I'm going to, but I do think I'm going to write them an email telling them,
it's kind of
like, hey, I'd really appreciate it if you backtrack on that, because that's really sad.
I stopped paying Netflix a while back
because of cuties, right?
Because of cuties, because I'm 100%. And here's the thing, yeah, okay, it's hard. All right, I don't wish death upon any person, right?
When you talk about child molestation, it is different than a political view.
Yes,
it's different than racism. Even
I feel really wholeheartedly that those people are fucking wrong. So when I noticed that happened,
let me put a caveat on that.
Okay,
people that act on it are fucking, like, completely yes, fucking throw them in a gutter.
Yeah,
like, but as far as, like, because trying to compare it to a racist, right? That's what's in my head. Like, I really fucking hate you because you're black. That's
different than if I'm gonna kill. Like, you actually go out and
like,
commit those.
I thoroughly dislike that in people, and I thoroughly dislike that entire belief system. And I'd love to talk people out of that. And I want those conversations to be in the open. I don't feel the same way about pedophilia.
Yeah.
Right. Like, there's not room for conversation there. Like, you're attempting to violate and victimize the innocent.
Yeah.
And wrath comes to mind.
Yeah, I know. Well, the reason I'm saying that you said you haven't canceled Disney yet. I canceled Netflix simply because of that.
Because of cuties.
And it's not because of that. It got released in public. It's not because they had it. It's the fact that
they didn't take it down.
They didn't take it down. The issue brought up, and they acknowledged the issue, and they didn't see anything wrong with it when there's something clearly fucking wrong with it.
The problem I have is that I think that the people running Netflix, keep in mind, these are Silicon Valley folk, right?
Sure.
Entrenched in this bullshit over there. I don't think that they saw it as a defense of pedophiles as much as it's the conservatives that are trying to attack this filmmaker.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you listen to the defense of it, it was all like, oh, well, the movie's actually anti-pedophilia. That's the message of the movie. And these people just don't get it. And it's because they're stupid conservatives.
Mm-hmm. Right.
That was a lot of, like, the reasoning against it. And yeah, they're fucking retarded. But I don't think that meant, I didn't take away that they were, like, pro-pedophilia from that. But it was super frustrating. Certainly would never watch the movie. And yeah, I mean, I thought about canceling.
It was a personal choice. I don't care who does. Right. I don't judge anybody who doesn't do it. Right.
Right.
So if you don't, like, I'm not going to look at somebody who
to a degree, it's admirable.
Yeah.
that you deleted it.
I don't care that somebody else has Netflix. Like that's another thing that's different between me and other people. Right. People that are passionate about that side or whatever will be like, well, you have to delete it. And it's, and I'm not like that. I'm not the guy that's going to go out and be like, you have to delete it. I deleted it personally. It's a personal choice of mine. It's my choice. Now I'm missing out on fucking Netflix, right? Whatever. Right. I have other platforms that are great. Like, I fucking love Hulu platform.
Hulu's great.
Hulu has a show that I really fucking love.
Don't cancel Disney Plus because you got to cancel Hulu too.
No, well, see that there's a trick to that. So Hulu is great because like there's a show. It's a very conservative show that Tim Allen did called Last Man Standing. I fucking love that show.
Right, got canceled
because
they found out he was conservative. They figured it out.
Because he was not openly fucking conservative in the show.
Right,
great show.
Well, I mean, the same thing with the Roseanne thing.
Same thing with Roseanne. Yep.
They took the first opportunity they had, they canceled it. That was terribly sad because I don't know if you watched any of the new Roseanne, but I really fucking enjoyed it. Like
I didn't watch any of the new stuff. No,
me and my girl, like that became like okay, we're watching this every week. Like it was good. It was fucking really good. It was well done. And the first time that she fucking tweeted anything, they're like, yeah, we don't like that. You're canceled. And like, they were just looking for it.
It's so comical to me to hear that. Like, oh, you don't like it canceled. Like, what the fuck, man? But they run it. They have the show on there. They're running it, so.
Sure, that's true, but like it's because they've already paid for it. Like because the network owns it, they paid millions of dollars to make it. They took it off the air.
Did Hulu pay for it? No, I thought he filmed it through.
No, it's a network though. A network owns it. They paid millions of dollars for the property. They're gonna sell it to Hulu.
Yeah.
What are they gonna do? Fucking just take millions of dollars in loss? Like,
yeah, they should. So fuck them. No, I'm just kidding.
Right? Like, because they invested in it, they made money on the commercials, and they said, "Well, fuck you, you're conservative, and we're gonna cancel this show." But we have this property, we already paid for it. Why not make money on it?
Mm-hmm.
Like that's the business side of things. To where, like, I don't know that that's pro-conservative so much as just not completely retarded business-wise.
Yeah.
But the Gina Carano thing, she was a pretty popular character, and not like I judge things based on this, but actually Disney does a lot. Is toy sales.
Mm-hmm.
Gina Carano toy sales were fucking like super successful.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was kind of surprised to find that out because I felt like she was a fairly minor character, right? Like,
well, you gotta remember,
cool.
She's and not to. I hate talking because people start to label things, but she's a very strong woman character.
Yeah, she's
a very strong woman lead character. It's very empowering. It's very great that she's in this fucking position, everything like that, and she represents a lot. And that's why I think it was very important for her to be on there. But they because she said that, it's like it's enough for them to be like, nah, fuck you.
They've been trying to cancel her for a couple of years now.
Sure, but
so
it's hard to believe that she's the only conservative on that show, right?
I don't know if you know what's going on, but within Lucasfilm, there's currently a massive division, and there is the Kathleen Kennedy, and then there's the Jon Favreau. And
I think I know what you're talking about. Jon Favreau is a genius, by the way. Like,
right. But Kathleen Kennedy is the lady that took over Star Wars after George Lucas sold it to Disney, and she's the reason for the sequel trilogy.
Mm-hmm.
That was all her fucking brainchild. So within her capable hands, she tanked the entire fucking Star Wars. And with The Mandalorian, she really didn't have anything to do with it, but her name was still attached to it because she's still like the head of Lucasfilm.
Yeah.
And so with that success, Bob Iger, the guy that, owns Disney or in charge of Disney, came in and basically took her ability to greenlight anything away. Like, she has power within Disney Plus, but she can't make a movie anymore.
Yeah.
Like, and so she's the one that's employed a bunch of these like extremist feminist people, super far leftist, weird agenda people, and they hate that good Star Wars was made. That wasn't focused on fucking equity.
Yeah.
It was just good Star Wars.
Yeah.
And they really hate it. And so that was like, they've been trying for a while, and that was a good like thumb in their fucking nose. And those people, like, I guarantee Jon Favreau had nothing to do with Gina Carano getting canceled.
I don't think he did either, but we don't know though. I don't know for sure, but
like, yeah, I don't. I'm convinced that had
because the science on the other side and the evidence on the other side.
They really, really fucking hate. Like, they're super, super liberal. So I don't even think Gina Carano is really that conservative. We'll find out because apparently she's gonna like get a little bit more talkative on
she's
on
fighting
her
back
views and stuff.
She's already said it. She's like, no, I'm not gonna fucking back, because there's a lot of people that get canceled or get pressure that just back down.
Right.
They don't fight back because that's what we are. We're not.
I'm really hoping though that like she doesn't say anything that's too crazy.
Me too.
And
I hope she just stays to the facts
and we can get her back.
Yeah.
Like, do you understand that she was going to get her own Disney Plus show?
It's so awesome.
They announced the Disney Plus show.
Yeah.
Rangers of the Rebellion.
Yeah.
She was supposed to be the fucking star.
Yeah.
She was going to star in a show that's still announced, and they don't know what's going to happen with it now. I want her to come back. Like, they canceled James Gunn for way worse than what she did.
Sure, yeah.
James Gunn made a child, like, pedophile joke. That was a joke.
It's not a freedom of speech, though. That's like, you know, what she said something. That's not freedom of speech if you're going to get fucking knocked for it. I should be able to say anything I want.
So what was it? It was a leftist person that was on their Instagram. You have the freedom to say whatever you want, but you don't have the freedom of the consequences of what you say.
Then that wouldn't necessarily be the freedom of it then. Like, you're allowed to say it, but you're allowed to be punished for it? That's not freedom.
Yes.
That's not freedom.
Yes. And I would say that is how America has been for all of American history.
So let's flip it. Who gets to decide if that's a good thing or bad thing?
Mop. As long as it's not the government doing it.
I can't cancel people that are on the left side?
Yeah,
Democratic people? Can I cancel them? Like, fucking cancel all their shit? You get thrown from the show because you believe in your beliefs? Like, that's my problem. You know?
Well, I mean, because they have power in the moment, absolutely, sure you can. But when they didn't have power, of course they wouldn't be okay with it.
We need to do something.
It's unhealthy, but I mean, do you not remember being a kid? I mean, that wasn't that long ago. What are we talking about? Like the early 90s? It was, you don't talk about religion and politics?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you didn't talk about religion and politics because of the fucking social consequences. You could get fired from your job. You could be ostracized from the fucking people that you know. Like, that was the thing. You don't fucking talk about religion or politics. And now everybody's to the point to where everybody talks about religion and politics.
It's the first thing in the conversation.
Waving my hands over here, super guilty.
Yeah. I noticed that a lot of my conversations end up talking about that for
religion and politics.
And it's not because of me. It's because that's where the conversation...
That's where the culture has gone. Everything's political. Like, there's definitely truth to that. But that is the conundrum, right? Like, everything became politics, and the rule of you don't talk about politics or religion didn't go away. Yeah. So people want to cancel you because you think wrong. And that's kind of part of human nature. That's why that's a saying, is because people are bad at being okay with differing opinions. So, yeah, I don't know. I hesitate with that quote because I'm like, that sounds like something Mao would be a pretty big fan of, right?
Okay.
Like Mao and Stalin would, I feel like, agree with that. They'd take that quote a little different direction than I think that they meant it, but like, yeah, you can say whatever you want. I'm going to kill you and put you in the gulag for it.
It's fucking stupid.
Right? Like,
Jesus Christ.
I'm sure that's not how they meant it, but like, yeah, it's whatever. Funny world we fucking live in.
Yeah, it's really fucking, I don't know, man. Wait, we can't solve it. We can help be a voice. Like, that's what we've been trying to do from the beginning. Like,
or we can pontificate and then go have a cigar. So I think it's cigar time, right?
A cigar time right now. I love that. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening. Again, episodes are being released more and more. We're getting back in the swing of things, like we said, previous episodes. So please check us out.
Don't believe
love the support. Shush.
We're the abusive parents.
I'm working on it.
We're gonna beat you again. Don't believe him. We're not gonna be regular. We love you, but we're still gonna hit you again.
All right, guys. So we got Clear Malfunction.
Peace.
And I am the Nitro Panda. Don't forget about stonecoldworks.com. Go check them out. Check us out on social media platforms. We're still out there. Love you guys. Peace.